on my way to pick up my Ranger and Marshall here, and anyone else, low oil pressure, always a good sign. Gives you a good sense of security, you know, when you're driving down the road and your truck starts saying low oil pressure. So yeah, any day could be the last day for this truck, so welcome back to another video. Thanks for joining us. You can see in the background here, winter has finally come to southwest Minnesota. You knew it had to happen eventually, but came fast and furious. Right now it's -4 degrees, so, and 20-30 mile an hour winds. They say it's going to get about 50 below with the wind chills here tonight. So anyway, I've got kind of a weird day of running around. Nick's had the stomach flu for at least a week, 5 days. So he's been doing nothing, laid up. I'm gonna head out. Well, first I'm heading up. I need to go get my Ranger picked up. Jeez, this road, can you see that? Bouncing all over here with the trailer behind me. After that, going to the farm. Got to get a few things done, so. I'm glad I tried the winch while I'm still at home, because that's what raises and lowers that snowplow that I use on the front of that Ranger, because it is not working. And it's the remote that won't stay connected to the winch system. And I've done this song and dance before, and I almost guarantee the battery's dead in there, which I don't get it, why you would design something so you got to take all 3 of these screws out, take this apart, and then take another screw here, 2 screws out, and once we get, don't want to lose those. Once we get both of these out, then we get down into here. Voila, we've got a battery. So assuming that is what's bad here, take that out, put a new one in. I carry these on hand because last time this happened, it was either last year or the year before. I'm sitting in town with the blade down and the winch won't work. And this is the only way to work it. So I ended up having to disconnect the plow from the Ranger and just leave it sit at the parking lot of the shop that I was at. And so I ordered a bunch of these batteries, and luckily that's what it was. But talk about a poor design. There's no secondary switch on that winch that's manual in the cab, and the batteries apparently burn out of these things. So I'm gonna put this back together, then I have to go hook up the plow onto the Ranger, and then I can finally head towards town. And I have about 2 hours to get all this done tops, and then we got to take off. So had to adjust one of the wires. It was too tight. And after I got the plow on, it was too loose. So anyway, finally headed to town to move a little bit of snow. Forgot the kids are staying with my parents tonight, so dog is going with him, I guess. So I'm bringing him into town and the kids and stuff, and move a little snow, and then finally get out to the farm if I ever make it. Running out of time. So last week, winter finally arrived. We ended up with, like, say, 7 or 8 inches of snow probably here. That was the first blizzard of the year. And now they're saying tonight at midnight, for 24 hours, we're getting blizzard number 2. So, not nearly as much snow, but I think 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts, a little snow, and wind chills in the negative 50 range. The actual air temp right now is 3 below 0, and I think tomorrow the high is negative 7 or negative 10, one of the two. So anyway, Ranger's been at the shop, so I'm behind. I need to push the snow that we got last time before we get more snow. The more you leave it, the more it just sits and blows around and drifts. So hopefully we don't get too much snow tonight. We don't really need to move snow. We don't really need 10-foot snow drifts either, so I knew it was coming eventually, but we don't need a ton of it. I'd rather take the moisture in the form of rain. Alright, so finally got into town, driveway number 1. A little bit difficult to run this with one hand or even 2 hands and film, but we are moving some snow. Luckily it's nice and light. Trying to stay away from the propane tank the best I can. They don't necessarily enjoy climbing over mountains to refill the tanks, so I always try to keep it away from that the best I can. Last year was one of those years where we were out of room. It didn't really matter where you wanted to put snow. There was nowhere for it to go, so it was actually like way up here, and I actually dug like a path down from on top of it to get the vent open, and so they could just refill it and everything, and that was not fun. So hopefully this is nothing like that, but we'll see. It's already mid-January or early January. Done so good, or so far so good, so hopefully the trend continues. Southwest Minnesota winter type stuff, but we haven't had it for so long that when you get these first couple, it's like, dang, this really isn't that enjoyable. But alright, I finally made it out to the farm here, and like I said, Nick's had the stomach bug all week, so he hasn't done anything for snow, and it's blowing like crazy. So up on the door, I'd say it's 2 feet deep up there probably. I'm going to try to get some of this snow moved away from the door because they're coming to get that 620 I think early next week and bring the new tractor, so that's going to need to be moved. Obviously, if that doesn't work, we'll just go get the loader tractor that's in the yard, but I haven't driven up in the yard yet. I'd be curious to see how much snow is up against those doors, so it's not going to be a whole lot of fun if both hydro swing doors are snowed shut with drifts. He's going to have to get a shovel and get to work, so we'll see how this goes. Well, I got a little path cleared out at least. We got to the door here. Yeah, that Ranger does a pretty good job, honestly. this is really light fluffy snow, so it doesn't really even have to work that hard, but you can see where it got, like, snow down here is, I mean, almost up to my knees. So I think for the main stuff here, you might as well get the tractor out. You have good equipment, big equipment, use it. I just wanted to be able to walk up to this door without getting totally buried. So yeah. One thing, oh yeah, Nick said I need to go up in the cab of the 620 here and get it cleaned out. If they're gonna come get that, we got to make sure we get all our tools and that type of stuff out of there. Hopefully he'd be feeling better soon, but until he is, I guess this is my responsibility. Oh yeah, all kinds of tools and stuff up in the compartments, so I'm gonna get this thing cleaned out. Well, it's not exactly pretty. It's not like I'm vacuuming this thing out or anything, but went up here, got all the stuff out of the overhead compartments. I believe I checked everything on the floor. Looks good. There was a few water bottles, Nick, of course, in here, but not bad. Kid's got a habit of potentially leaving some water bottles in every vehicle, tractor, anything he drives. But yeah, so I think I got everything out of here. Unlike the combine, that has a toolbox built into it over here, just in the side, which is awesome because all the tools just go in here. But this, we just have this box up front, fresh corn on it, I guess, and just some, I guess, field cultivator, and there's something for the ripper and some chain, but it doesn't seal up either, so you wouldn't want anything too nice in here. But so yeah, there's just that on it. So all the tools are in the cab, ton of tools. And this is Nick's dad, my Uncle Dennis, to a T. He's got the old coffee containers and ice cream pails full of nuts, bolts, anything you could possibly need, you know, for tillage. Basically, there's some hydraulic fittings, but I love it. Rather than, you know, you gotta, I don't know how much these things cost, but they're not cheap, these machines. Got to be somewhere close to $500,000 or something, but $500,000 machine, and we're not buying toolboxes. We're just gonna duct tape up a cardboard box and fill her full of 50 pounds of bolts and tools and call it good. I guess it does the trick. So it's just funny because as we're working through everything and like putting the planter together and everything's in like an ice cream pail or some sort of container. Makes me laugh. All right, that's a wrap on that one. Cleaned out, ready to hit the road. So hopefully when this one hits the road next week, we can show you what's coming to replace it. And I don't know, I'm pretty excited for it, even though this isn't the rig I run. I've barely ever driven this 620. I'm always doing, whenever I'm running equipment, it's mainly seed tender in the spring, so that's nothing too crazy. And then, holy cow, this thing's a mess. Really be nice to get some of that mud off, but we don't have a warm place to do that. But I run the 540 mostly, so that's more my baby. If we were getting a brand new one of these, we don't need one, but then I'd be more excited because then I'm like, oh cool, that's something I get to run. But the new tillage tractor, it'll be sweet. Also, I hope we get enough snow so I can take this out once. I just want to say I did it. I think that concludes it for me. My wife and I are going to take off and do something for the rest of the day and tomorrow probably, and hopefully the wind isn't too terrible to the point where we got a mess on our hands with snow. So we'll see what Mother Nature brings. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, please. We really appreciate it. It just helps you find more videos, and we bring videos every single week, and we'll continue to do that, and it'll really pick up again here once the weather breaks and we have time to get out there and get in the field. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.